Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you episode 54 of my brand new Comics Haul series. This is a series where each and every week when I head down to my local comic shop and grab all the new issues that came out that week, I show you guys every issue I got and I tell you a little bit about everything I picked up. So here's the stack for this week. I grabbed 8 issues in total, 6 from Marvel and 2 from Image. Pretty much every issue from Marvel is a big one in some way. They had a lot of their highest selling series and really big releases that came out this week. But now that we've got all of this week's comics out of the bag, we've got to, of course, get the bag out of the way. Alright, now that that is all over with, let's get right into this week's haul. My most anticipated issue of the week that I picked up this week was Fantastic Four Reckoning War issue number 40. So this is actually just issue 40 of the regular Fantastic Four ongoing series. They've got the Reckoning War tab up on the top there, as you can see on the cover, because this is the first issue of the Fantastic Four main series that's part of this Reckoning War event. It all kicked off in Reckoning War Alpha, which came out a couple weeks ago, and I definitely recommend picking that up. If you're into Marvel in any way, it's really a big Marvel event. There's a lot that went on in that first issue, dealing with the moon actually being destroyed, the Watchers, this big cosmic threat that's been in the background. It's of course written by Dan Slott. I'm excited to see where it goes. Some people weren't too into it, but I definitely recommend at least trying the first issue if you're a Marvel fan, because although this is only being told in Fantastic Four, it is a really big Marvel event, even if they're not exactly publishing it like they would publish a regular event, if you understand what I'm saying there. But that's Fantastic Four issue number 40. I'm really excited to see how Reckoning War commences, and I definitely recommend it so far. Alright, next up from Marvel this week, I told you guys, they've got a lot of big releases and exciting new, issues of ongoing series. This week we've got Thor number 22. This is written by Donny Cates with art by Nick Klein, the regular ongoing creative team on Thor. This cover is really awesome as we see all of these different Marvel heroes assembling, including Lockjaw and Throg. Of course, the new Pet Avengers team, which was recently assembled in Thor. This God of Hammer story arc so far has been pretty decent in my opinion, nothing that special. I mean, of course, we've got these big things happening. That's the way that Donny Cates likes to write his series. The God of Hammers having been this, being that's been trapped within Mjolnir. There's a little bit more that went into it, and we got the cliffhanger, the last issue, which I won't spoil, but it has something to do with the sun, Mjolnir having been thrown into the sun and pretty much destroyed. Something happened to Mjolnir while it was in the sun, and it picked up this evil spirit. I won't tell you guys anymore. You gotta read it for yourself. The artwork is really awesome. The writing has been pretty decent. I think there's been stronger story arcs of Thor. That's Thor issue number 22. Let me know what you guys are thinking of this series right now down in the comment section below. Moving on with Marvel Comics, this week I've got another Donny Cates comic. He released both of his ongoing series from Marvel this week. It's Hulk issue number 4. So this one I'm thinking kind of the same thing about as Thor. It's only been decent. It's honestly very different from a lot of other things that Donny Cates has written for Marvel. It kind of seems like he's maybe partly leaving behind just these huge overarching ideas for his series. We just have this new concept that the Hulk is now like a starship. Bruce Banner is sort of the villain of the series, if you can call him that. He's piloting the body of the Hulk from within the mindscape, and then there's a whole nother layer that goes into it, which is that he can crank this notch, Bruce Banner in the mindscape, and then the power for the physical Hulk is powered by the mindscape Hulk, who's fighting these different armies and this giant-sized Wolverine and stuff. It's a little bit confusing. It took me a couple issues to fully understand what the whole deal is. Of course, the artwork in here is really amazing by Ryan Ottley. That's Hulk number 4. Alright, we've got another big release from Marvel this week. This is one that I've been looking forward to for a few months now. We've got Venom number 5. So this one is actually written by Al Ewing instead of Ram V. They're the co-writers on the series, which at first I thought meant they'd be co-writing every issue. That's not the case. Ram V is pretty much the main writer, and Al Ewing is only going to come in every once in a while. The only thing I'm really interested in with this series, though, the reason that I've waited out all the way till issue 5, is because the Eddie Brock story is starting. Al Ewing is writing the Eddie Brock side of things. Way back in issue number 1 of this series, we got a really big cliffhanger where we saw Eddie Brock basically die in an explosion, and then he was suddenly brought to this mindscape, or some sort of afterlife, where he was greeted by Meridius, this bizarre looking, I guess, god, and we're gonna get that whole situation explained in this issue. I'm excited to read it. That's Venom number 5. Alright, I've only got a couple more issues from Marvel Comics this week. Let's hop on over to the Spider-Man side of things. This week we've got The Amazing Spider-Man number 89. This one is written by Patrick Gleason for a change. He's usually an artist, but he's also doing some writing duties for this current Amazing Spider-Man Beyond story arc. This is chapter 15 out of 19. So we've only got a few issues left here, and of course we've got some big revelations happening. At the end of the last issue, there was a big thing that happened with Ben Reilly, a choice that he made, which was really alarming but perfectly made sense. I really liked that last issue. It was probably my favorite of the Beyond run so far. Of course, the Queen Goblin had her first appearance in the last issue. Now she's continuing on here, and we've got artwork by Mark Bagley for this little 2-issue story arc that they're doing. That's The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 89. Alright, the last issue that I picked up from Marvel Comics this week is a Devil's Reign tie-in. We've got Devil's Reign Superior 4 issue number 2. This tying into Devil's Reign, I wouldn't really say it does at all. Take that for what it is. If you're gonna get this series, it should be because you're a Dr. Octopus fan. It's completely centered around Dr. Octopus and the multiverse, so this is a really out there comic. It was a little bit hard to follow even in issue number 1, kind of unclear what Dr. Octopus's intentions even are, but he had some sort of explanation in that first issue for going around and conquering other versions of himself in the multiverse. It barely ties into Devil's Reign, and it's kind of funny that this whole like grounded, only New York City event that Devil's Reign is also somehow involved with this whole like multiversal idea that's really insane. I think that's kind of funny. I'd say you can get this even if you're not getting Devil's Reign, and I do recommend it so far, even if a lot of people aren't liking it as much. That's Devil's Reign, the Superior 4, issue number 2 of 3. Okay, like I said, I did grab 2 issues from Image this week. Let's get right into it. The first one that I've got here is King Spawn number 7. So I did just do some purges to my pull list. I dropped like 7 or 8 titles because it was getting a little big. I needed to make a choice to keep the ones that I only liked the most. I decided to drop Spawn and The Scorched and only kept half of the Spawn's universe titles because I was getting them all. The idea in general has been really cool. It's like completely world spanning. There's these different cults that are trying to get Spawn to become the leader of the underworld. There's a little bit more that goes into it. Their intentions aren't exactly clear yet. We've got a lot of villains also being resurrected in this series from like classic Spawn days. That's been really cool to see. Even though I'm not familiar too much with some of them, I still know a decent amount about like the classic days of Spawn. We'll see how this issue is though. I'm glad to see they're still keeping this series ongoing, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Okay, thanks for sticking around with me to the very end of the video, anyone who's still watching. The last issue that I picked up this week was from Image Comics. I've got Time Before Time number 10. So this was another one of the titles that I actually decided to drop from my pull list. It got a little bit better in my opinion with the start of this brand new arc, which started in I think issue number 7, but it kind of loses me. This series is a little bit confusing. Anything that deals with time travel is going to be... We do have our main character whose name is Tatsuo though. He's assisting this FBI agent whose name is Nadia. Tatsuo works for the Syndicate. He's recently been, I guess, fired. He's kind of branching off from them, but the Syndicate has cracked time travel. They're kind of a shady organization though, so sometimes they'll leave people in the past, they'll split up families if they can't pay enough, or they'll raise the prices to go back to the past. So that's Time Before Time, issue number 10. Alright then, that was every single one of the brand new issues that I picked up this week. I want to know what you guys got though. Let me know down in the comment section below. Which issues are you excited about this week? Also, if you're new to the channel, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you're not subscribed already. You can also hit that notifications bell, which is sitting right next to it. We just passed, I think, 260 subscribers, on the way to 300, going strong. So that's everything from me for today. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Bye, guys.